Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special kind of mini segment of AASR Live. I am here because, someone that I know and love and respect very much had something that they wanted to share, and I said, well, this is a great idea. Why don't we do a live event and tell people about it? So you may already see over, to my right, left, I don't know what side it is. I've got Cheryl Poe here with me. And let me tell you a little bit about Cheryl. And Cheryl, I've got an intro, and I'm going to go through some of this intro here. And then I'll get to the most important part at the end of the intro. Of course, you're the founder and executive director of Advocating for Kids, Inc., a special education advocacy organization that provides resources, information, workshops to parents, professionals, with a special focus on addressing the needs of Black and Brown children with disabilities. You, of course, have been a past board president for the National Allies for Parents in Special Education, NAPSI, and a national parent-driven organization that works really hard to increase access and quality advocacy resources for special education families from underserved populations to improve educational outcomes. You hold a Master's of Arts in Urban Education and Counseling. You have also completed over 15 credit hours of postgraduate work in psychology. In June 2004, that seems like yesterday, you completed the Nation Group's Psychotherapy Institute at Washington School of Psychiatry in Washington, D.C. In the study of group psychotherapy. You have completed a 2-year term as the Student Outreach and Recruitment Committee Chairperson for the Mid-Atlantic Psychotherapy Society Board of Directors, and were awarded the Jefferson Cup for leadership in that role. You, of course, have been the chair of the National Association for Education of African American Children with Learning Disabilities. That's a very long acronym there, so I won't say that. And of course, you've served on the Council of Parents, Advocates, and Attorneys, COPA, where you help develop strategies to address the needs of Black people within the organization. And you've served as a co-chair for the Social Racial Equity Committee, where you have helped develop and implement activities to ensure the needs of Black and Brown children were respected, addressed and respected within COPA. And you've completed the William and Mary Law Institute of Special Education Advocacy Summer Conference and the first annual class. Eventually, you became, I knew this, a presenter for William and Mary Law Institute. And I've heard great things about that, of the Special Education Advocacy Summer Conference. You've been a presenter at many conferences, national disability organizations, such as the Autism and Black Conference, the Dyslexia Alliance for Black Children presentation, Council of Parents, Attorneys and Advocates, Philadelphia Conference, and Virginia Board of People with Disabilities. You've been all over the place. And of course, you have work experience that includes over 20 years of working with children with various disabilities and their families as an in-home clinician and therapeutic foster case manager. And of course, you're a mother as well of 2 boys with learning disabilities. And you pride yourself on understanding the struggles that Black parents face when dealing with special education issues. And of course, it says here that you were diagnosed with ADHD and learning disabilities and received special education services as a child. Yes. So, this is work that you've been doing, work that's in your DNA. And, what I was going to add here, your long intro there is what's really important to me. Which I'm really proud to call you a friend and a colleague. You're an amazing person out there that's been doing change and change in communities that really need focus and attention. And I've had the opportunity to get to know you and the work that you've been doing, and you are relentless and tireless, and somebody that is making positive change in the world. So really excited to have you here today. So Cheryl, thank you for all you do and all you are, and welcome.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful intro. Can I just have you come around with me?
Sure. I'll just be your new intro person, right? And again, of course, I read through a lot of your background, but what really sinks in with me is just having known you now for, it probably goes back at least 4 years now.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. And of course, you've been on our podcast before, and I always get excited excited when I see an email or hear something from you. So you had reached out to me recently to talk a little bit about a conference that's coming up,
Yeah,
which is the Black Collective Advocacy Network Conference.
yeah.
And we were talking about the conference, and kind of said, hey, why don't we share that? Why don't we do a little live together, and we can talk to people about what it is and what you're doing and whatnot. And I will just let you know real quick, anybody that happens to be watching live, because this is live right now on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and later we actually even make it available as a podcast. So hopefully people will listen to it in time to find out about this great event. People that are listening now live, feel free to tell us who you are in the chat and where you're from. And I see one of our frequent flyers here, Nicole, already has and said, wow, I'm impressed with those credentials and happy to join. Nicole's from New Jersey and thankful to be able to listen and learn. So anyone else that's joined on live, feel free to tell us who you are and where you're from. And with that, let me transition to you, Cheryl. And why don't you tell us a little bit about this upcoming event, what kinds of things are going to be happening there, where it is, how people can get involved, and why don't you take it away?
All right. Well, thank you again for that wonderful introduction. And it's funny, you're right. We have been working for about 4 years together.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it looks like you just became muted somehow, Cheryl. Uh-oh. Okay, let's see if we can figure out.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Now you're unmuted. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That's the part where you said something really bad about me, I think. We have been working together for 4 years.
Yeah.
And
I know it's gone. I know.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
I
All right.
really enjoyed you working with you and watching your processes and the work that you've done with the Alliance Against Restraints Inclusion. I should have worn my shirt. I was so happy when I got my shirt in the mail. I have worn it, but I promise I'm going to wear my shirt and send you some pictures and put it on my website.
Fantastic.
Because I respect you too, the work that you've done, and it's been fun working with you. And I just got back from the ARC. I was a presenter yesterday at the Virginia ARC Convention and had a chance to really talk about this issue in a way that I believe is important. So, this conference that I'm doing is like a bucket list dream. As a Black woman who went through some very racial experiences when I was trying to get my children identified for services and then keep those services. And it was frustrating because I could not find any advocates that looked like me, right? They were predominantly white advocates, white women. And the issues that I felt were getting in the way of me being able to make sure that my son, and my oldest son, to get his speech therapy services was definitely difficult. So over the years of doing all of this work, I finally got to a position where I realized that there are a lot of Black advocates, Black school psychologists, Black professionals that are doing this work and have been doing this work, but we're scattered all over the place. So we all started kind of trying to come together just for each other, right? Just to share resources and address some of that commonality of the intersectionality that exists with having a disability or raising a child with a disability and the fact that they're Black. There is racism that exists in America. There is racism that exists within our public schools. And Guy, just from your work with restraint and exclusion, that the data shows federally that if you are a Black student with a disability, your chances of being restrained or secluded are much greater. And not because Black kids are better than white kids. I've heard people say that to me, and I don't believe that to be true at all. I believe that the system, educational system, has a lot to work on. Because think about it, Black people weren't allowed in public education until the 50s. That wasn't that long ago. Because even after Brown versus the Board of Education was 1954 was passed, it still had to get through the Jim Crow kind of laws, right, to actually get kids in school. So if you think about it, the system was never developed for Black people at all. Then you add disabilities. People, Black or white, that had disabilities were not allowed to go to public schools, right? They too were they were discriminated against, they were institutionalized, they were treated as animals. And so when you put those intersectionalities together, and you're trying to go through a system that we had to develop laws for both of us to go, well, guess what? It takes a while to break that. So me and some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people from across the country have decided to, I was able to get them to all come together, and we are having a conference called the Black Collective Network Advocacy. And it's uplifting Black families and the disability communities. We're saying it's for us, meaning that the topics will be centered around that intersectionality. You know, we say it's by us because even within the disability communities, and you may have observed some of this yourself, Guy, and I think maybe you and I have even talked about that when it comes to presenting in these large organizations, you don't see a lot of Black people doing that. I mean, it's you may see one out of 30. You know, the one that I just came from this week, none of them, from what I understand, there were no people of color that were part of the main preliminary, you know, kind of keynote, big kinds of presentations. I think maybe maybe three other Blacks presented. And that's usually kind of the norm that you see at conferences. So we're saying by us because there are a lot of talented people, Black advocates that are doing great work. And this is a platform for them to shine, you know, where they can get the word out about what they do and how and connect with community and make sure that they're staying up on their skills and they have opportunities to mentor and they have opportunities to share all the wonderful knowledge that they have. And then when we talk about us that's in there is that this is going to be specific to that intersectionality. You know, Black parents have to navigate not only just the regulations, but then we got to deal with those microaggressions. And how do the microaggressions get in the way of getting your child the services that they need? And that is just some of the things that we're going to do. The conference is virtual. And we did that on purpose for lots of reasons. A, it's cheaper, right? You don't have to, reduces barriers. People don't have to fly or travel anywhere. You don't have to pay for a hotel. You don't have to pay for your meals or anything like that. You're in the comfort of your home. And, parents tend to have to watch our kids, right? They're out on the weekends, especially moms. And this gives you a chance to, hey, if you need to give your children some attention, that's fine, because everything that we do is going to be recorded so they can come back and look at it later. It's about getting the information there. As long as a person buys a ticket, they will have access to every single session recorded because they may want to go back and listen to something, or, even the day of or around the conference weekend times, there may be times that they just can't be there. They just can't be there live with us, Guy. And I could go on more, so tell me where to stop. And
Well, no,
if you have any questions, Jen.
Yeah, no, this is great. And I know you had some things to share, but in the meantime, I was also going to share the webpage for this, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
So you've got a webpage about the event, right?
Yes.
And I hopefully, if all went well, have that up on my screen now.
Yes,
So people can see that. And of course, the webpage says a lot of what you just told us. It talks about when the event's going to happen, the dates. It talks about, kind of the big points you made here, for us, by us, about us.
Yes.
And of course, people can purchase a ticket.
Yes.
And, sometimes the tickets for these events are, I hate to say this, but, they're cost prohibitive. And, it looks like it's $125, which is not cost prohibitive, which hopefully is a good thing for folks because,
and we're offering some scholarships too.
Okay, great.
So that even if that is for some people cost prohibitive, a lot of our speakers have donated tickets. I have had some of my white clients want to support this and donate tickets. It's just been wonderful.
Fantastic. And of course, you've got the full schedule here as well.
Yes.
And you can kind of click through and see Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, what the sessions are going to be. You can learn more about the speakers here. And of course, you can share this on social media, which is a great thing to be able to do. So you've got a lot of information here about the event.
Yeah, it keeps going. You'll see some more down the other way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Roundtable discussions.
Yes.
Yeah, this looks like a fantastic event.
Yeah.
Um, so again, I put that link in the chat here so that people can click on that and
Thank
find
you.
out more or register if they want
Yes.
to. Anything
Yes.
else you want to tell me about the website here? It looks like we covered most of the information.
Yeah. Just that if you scroll all the way down,
Hmm.
guy, come all the way
Yep.
down, you
Yep.
can see each
Oh, okay.
present people
Oh,
who go.
wow.
There you go. Slow down.
I thought I'd reached the end
Yeah,
here. And
yeah.
okay.
If you
Yeah.
keep
So,
going, you can see each
okay.
individual presenter, who they
Okay.
are, what the name of their company is, a bio, a description, the name of the title of their presentation. It just, it's a great way for you to plan around. Okay, what's going to work for me, and maybe I
Hmm.
can't reach this one, but I can do the other one. But
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
also gives you a lot of information of the wonderful things that you will learn in this conference,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
the quality. I mean, I've been so lucky to get some of these speakers. They are, some of them are nationally recognized, nationally sought out speakers, and then some of them are kind of new to the process. And for me, when I say year, I'm talking like 4 years.
Right. Right.
We have
Sure.
parents. This is. Can you go back to that one?
Yep.
This is a really interesting one. This is he's a pastor. Curtis Haynes is a pastor out of Florida, and he's in a situation where a grandparents raising grandchildren, and then having to deal with, like, what, relearning and rethinking what disabilities are, because in the Black culture, in the Black communities, especially around my time of growing up, disability was something to be ashamed of.
Hmm.
It was
Hmm.
something to um, either pretend it didn't exist, or try and beat it out of the child. It doesn't work.
Right.
So,
Right.
their
Right.
stories really need coming from a perspective of being older, right? And
Hmm.
what that meant if you had a child with disabilities to now,
Hmm.
and the lessons learned. So, they're going to be one of the panelists on that position, Black Parents Roundtables lessons learned.
Hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic. And I hear you as you're saying, like, hey, when I was growing up, this is how it is. And what I appreciate about the work that you have been doing as long as I've known you, and for much longer than that, is how you're one of the people out there changing it, right?
Yeah, I'm
And we've got
doing
a
my
long way to
best.
go. I mean, we've got a long way to go in all of this, but without people out there, Cheryl, like you, that are really leading the way and getting people to think about things differently and look at things differently. I mean, that's what's really important. And this is an event that's all about kind of continuing that, right? It's all
It is.
about,
It is.
yeah, that's great.
Opportunity. It's
Yep.
all about opportunity for people who are often ignored, right?
Hmm.
To have a space, and come and feel safe, around the idea of talking about what it means to be Black and disabled,
Hmm.
talking about
Hmm.
what it means to raise a disabled child,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then learning skills, so that, God, we can change those statistics. You know that,
Absolutely.
as a community, we can do this. And I really am hopeful that the kind of information that we're going to be sharing in this kind of path, because this is my first one, and it was hard. It was like I had to work through my fear of wanting to do it, and now that I've done it, I'm like, oh yes, this is it. This is working. And mainly because of the excitement from people. Like, people are like, oh
Hmm.
my gosh, this is incredible. This is a wonderful opportunity. This is so needed. So, and this does not exclude white people. I want to make that very
Hmm.
clear.
Hmm.
I saw you had to delete a comment, and I have had to delete comments
And
from.
just so you know, that was actually a spammer that
Oh,
was
okay.
trying. We've, I guess you've made it on your live broadcast when you begin to get spammers that start sharing links to try to trick people into going to. So yeah,
Oh my
that's
goodness.
all that
Okay,
was.
that's what that was.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've had to delete some comments off of my sponsored ads.
Hmm.
People just, they see Black Collective Advocacy Network, and they automatically think, the negative, or not negative. They feel a need to, I think, in some ways, want to cause harm to people wanting to come together to learn,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
saying very, very, very cruel things. And that's why I think we need to have a space where we can talk about this and know that it's okay. It's safe. But we encourage, in fact, if you go up, you'll see Caitlin. I mean, we actually have a white presenter. And we encourage that if white people want to come and learn more, there she is. She'll be doing part of the opening with me. She's a professor at Howard University. She's been working with me for about 6 months and doing some work looking at the data in Virginia. It's not good. It is not good. And she's been helping me work through that. We've kind of written out a little, I shouldn't say little, about a 16-page report on what we've identified as far as issues with students with disabilities in the state in Virginia. So she'll be talking with us and then also teaching later for other people in their communities that want to know how to use the data or even how to get to the data so that they can go back and use that information if they want to file systemic complaints or use it as leverage to talk to people that have the power and authority to make some changes in their own district. So that's one of the key pieces in this. Not only will you learn what you can do for your individual child.
Sorry, Cheryl. I was trying to remove the screen to make you and I large, and I removed the wrong one. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So, that's one of the exciting things. Not only are people going to learn what they can do for themselves in their individual situations, they're going to learn tools and resources of what they can do when they want to do something for their community. We actually have Linda Carrington. She's going to be at the end talking about, hey, maybe you want to start your own nonprofit. Maybe there's work that you're doing that you don't realize could be a nonprofit. Maybe you make a connection with someone here and you're able to work together on a project.
Yeah.
So it's
because
really
we can
exciting.
make change, right? I mean, the work that you're doing makes changes. The work that we're doing here at the Alliance makes change. I love encouraging people to do that. I mean, when I started the Alliance, I never intended really to start an organization and then one day to quit my job and just focus on this. But, we can do it. We can make change. And I love kind of bringing community together and connecting people that are really, this event is about building community. So I think this is fantastic. We do have a question here, and Karen just mentioned ripples make ripples. I absolutely agree with that. We did have a question here, and I think we have time maybe to get to a question or two, and we were just going to do this as kind of a short event. So we don't have the usual full time here, but Darlene asked, with the current climate, how are you moving advocacy forward? Do you feel more pushback now than in the past?
Definitely. Well, I live in the state of Virginia, and it's always been pushback. It's no worse or no better. And what I have done is focus more so on systemic issues. In fact, and I was going to try and save it to bring it up, but I'll share it with you later. I was able to file an Office of Civil Rights complaint against the Virginia Department of Education with some other advocates for disability discrimination, not providing services during the COVID time, and then we threw some other things in there related to our dispute resolution office just being horrendous. They picked it up. They picked up the one issue. So right now, I have an active Office of Civil Rights complaint that the Attorney General of Virginia is dealing with because of the systemic damages that have been happening to students with disabilities. So my next step with that, right, and that's why I'm working with an assistant professor from Howard, is to use that same idea, that those systemic issues and the data that they have, to file a complaint about racial and disability discrimination against the state of Virginia. Because Virginia is always in the negative when it comes to any of the outcomes for Black students. And I don't know if you guys know that about the class action lawsuit that was filed against the Virginia Department of Education for their hearing officers being disgustingly horrible and their ruling in honor of parents. Are you familiar with that? You're looking confused.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to remember, and sometimes I don't recall it out of my head now.
But I just wanted, I think, to answer that question is this is how you move forward. Because what they did was it got kicked out of court, right? They couldn't get the certification for our class. And then some other procedural issues, not that the case was a substance, but procedural issues. So what they've done is filed a complaint with the Virginia Attorney General to investigate the violations. So It's a different style of
Mm,
advocacy.
mhm,
It's a
mhm.
bigger piece because individually you can help that individual.
Mhm.
But in order to make some systemic significant change, moving forward is doing systemic complaints.
Sure, sure.
And of course we get pushback,
Yeah,
but
yeah, and
I
no,
get that
and
all the
that
time.
systemic, yeah, but here's the thing. Here's what I know about Cheryl Poe is that you may get pushback, but you push harder, and you take things up to another scale. I mean, sometimes to help a kid, you've got to fix a system,
Yes.
and that's what you're doing, and that's fantastic work. Well, we are just about out of time here, so we're going to have to wrap up. But I have put the links again in the chat for people to learn about the event, and hopefully people will. And you know the drill here. If you're watching us live, or even if you watch us later, share this, please. Share this in communities. Share this with your friends, whoever you work with, your colleagues. This is how change happens. And Cheryl, I want to thank you for taking some time today to join me. It was great to see you.
It was so good seeing you.
It seems like we have emails every once in a while back and forth, but I
Yes,
always enjoy the opportunity to see
I
your
did.
face and
And I
and
love your newsletters. If you guys aren't on his list for his newsletters, you got to sign up. They're great.
awesome. Thank you
And
so
tell
much.
Cooper I said hi.
I sure will. I sure will. He's getting ready to head off to college, so
Oh, how
we'll
exciting.
have to
How
catch up on
exciting.
all of that later. I'm going to let our audience go here. You can hang around for a second, but thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you
Thank
again.
you.
We have actually another special event tomorrow. We've got a lot of stuff going on. So we're with Dr. Lori Desautel tomorrow, really having a very candid conversation about restraint and seclusion from a kind of a perspective of neuroscience and how we can do better. So I'll see you again tomorrow if you're here. Thanks. Bye-bye.